Hello friends and welcome to Carburetor, the car talk show that may include some motorcycles from time to time. The topic for today is quite interesting and full of content, and it is all about used cars from the UK. Stay here, we begin. Many people may have to buy a car from the UK for various reasons, whether because they work there and have to take a lot of luggage back to their country. Or maybe others, like me, after flying by plane, they say that they will never again repeat such experience and decide that they will buy a car and travel around a week in the opposite direction only to avoid the nightmare called flying. There are also other people who, for purely financial reasons, choose British vehicles. Yes, for a lot of reasons. However, we will talk about the things that almost no one talks about, and in detail to be really prepared. Well, take out the notebook and record it. We mentioned the aircraft. Maybe you will arrive by plane. Arriving at the airport, we start with the most important: finance. Unfortunately, they will need you in large quantities, unlike what you imagine. I will now tell you why. You will need transportation, and it's quite convenient to get a rental car. At first glance, the prices are super affordable, but not really so. Here is the catch. Almost any rental car company will ask you for a deposit of around £1,000, which means that you automatically tied up a large amount of money that will not be at your disposal. In addition to the deposit, you may be asked for additional insurance for broken windows and damaged tires, which in the event of an accident to pay out of pocket if you decide against this insurance. Another option is to use public transportation. The trains are very accurate, fast and cozy, but to our standard they are again quite thick, and by that I mean pricey. Tickets from Birmingham to London for a family of 3 are around £300, but for that you do get a table to eat at, internet, and even 220 volts power supply to be used for a laptop or phone charging. Another short travel option are taxis. You must have watched the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves. Something similar will happen to you with the taxis. Drivers from Pakistan, Serbia, Slovenia, Bulgaria, and host of other talents, who can easily be at the forefront of another Paris-Dakar rally. A little roller coaster of horror, but this may be appeal to you. And last but definitely not least are the buses, or like UK citizens call them, coaches. Again accurate and cozy, but much more human in price and speed. They will get you to desired destination with ease. Before you get to the UK, it will be good to have a hotel reservation. There are quite a few hotels, but at the last minute prices are high, from £50 to £100 and more. Something very important to understand are the postal codes. They are not for a particular city, but for something like 100 meters perimeter around every house. If you have a postcode, you do not need a street or city, your navigation takes you directly there, 100 to 200 meters from your destination. For example, I'm giving you a Leeds code to see how the UK codes looks like. To buy a car, you will need to dig a lot through the websites. The two very used ones are AutoTrader and Gumtree. Once you spot a car, comes another challenge: communicating with sellers. None of them speaks English. Indians, Chinese, Pakistani, and all of the above mentioned, as well as our Bulgarian representatives, will convince you how good their products are. After around 20 calls, I came across an Englishman and went directly to him, without wasting my time with others. If you think that for £500–600 you will buy a good car, you are lying. There is only a crap trick for that kind of money. The other trick that can help keep the price low is MOT or MOT. This is the annual technical inspection. If it has expired, the car is much cheaper, but when traveling with this car, you risk a lot. Let's say you bought a car. You will need to make a temporary insurance. There are a lot of sites, but the important thing is that your ID card will not work for you. I'm speaking for Bulgarian citizens in this case. In order to make such insurance, you will need a passport. It has one special number which is missing from your ID card, and it is not a personal identification number. So, do not travel without an international passport. Next step. Telephony and Internet. The range of telephones on the ground is very weak, and the Internet is simply from a modem era since the 80s. It is just a horror. We've said quite a few nice things, so it's time to say something about the cars themselves and their negatives. Right steering wheel, another horror. Later, will be impossible to sell it in Europe. Secondly, you think there is no more rusty car than an Opel. Well, go buy a Mercedes Sprinter from UK and its rear doors will just fall apart. There are also many hidden defects that you will find out after you leave. There was a myth that English cars were cheap. Do you still think so? Remember that road only for fuel and food on the road will not be less than £1,000. Count them. 200 insurance, 400 fuel, 100 ferries, bridges, at least 300 freeways for sleeping and food, and there you are. In my case, when I visited my local dealer, things turned out as I expected. The man was super responsive and supportive, and it was a pleasure to trade with him. I bought this Peugeot 307 1.6 gasoline because of the fact that I know the brand well for my 7 years work experience in Peugeot workshop. And at the price of £600, finally the man gave it to me for 400, which will not happen to other nationalities that we already have talked about. While on the island, you will have to eat. Restaurants are very expensive, but you also have the option of junk food at low prices. I would recommend that you buy from Tesco. That is, tell their Kaufland and even more. Unlike in France, the vegetables there seems to be very tasty. Also, meat and milk products are very nice, and even more surprising is that they are very cheap. Tesco are also a GSM provider, and you can buy from them a SIM card or a phone. The problem is one, super big queues, and you have to be quite patient. We reached the time when you have to go back home with your UK car. The Iceland's highway are good. Let's score them as so-so, but they're extremely cluttered and loaded with car traffic. It's bad. As you move along them, you will see services signboards. Don't think it is a workshop, nothing like. These are fuel stations and places to eating and relaxing. The strange thing is that they're not on the highway, but 500 to 800 meters away, and you have to get off the traffic and then to approach them. The convenience, from the other hand, is that they're at quieter places, and then it's not a problem to get back to your destination. Going down, you will come to a huge bridge that is a paid one. It costs around £3 and it's called the Darfur Bridge. I was told that in the evening there is a time frame which is free, but you will hardly wait until midnight to save £3. From there, you should cross the channel to France. You have two options, Dover-Calais with a ferry and the Folkestone Tunnel, which is actually the train you board the car with. As I mentioned before, the price is salted there too. When you arrive in France, you will hit the best highways you have ever seen. Of course, they are paid, but they are just wonderful. After France, you go through Germany. Highways are, let's say, a classic. Some highways do not have a speed limit, but most of them do. Then there is Austria. Roads are great, nature is great, wonderful, peaceful experience. Before you reach Bulgaria, you have to choose through Serbia or will pass through Romania. Serbia highways are good. We also have a Euro-Corridor, but you will have a problem with the insurance, because it is not valid for Serbia. Go directly through Romania for less headaches. The choice is Calafat Vidin or Gheorghevo Ruse. Both places are bridges, but the roads through Vidin are just a nightmare. I went there because I had never been there before. Otherwise, the views along the Danube River are great from Romania side. Well friends, that's pretty much all you need as information if you have to buy a car from UK. In fact, if you want a car that is from the UK and still have left-hand drive from the factory, you have to choose a Ford Mustang. It is not a cheap vehicle, but all Mustangs are left-hand drive only. And you won't have to make any transformation later on. This will make it easier to sell. Okay friends, I hope this carburetor episode was helpful to you. If so, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. If you choose to support us, you can do that by donating to our Patreon site, which is provided in the description down below. From me, Nico, bye, and I'll see you in the next episode.